Hi, my name is Whitney Hinkle, and this is my project on what is the value of humanities today. So, the focus of my presentation is that art, whether it's painting, films, or sculptures, are all elements of the humanities that have some influence on the way we think, see, and value life. In my presentation, I chose art from various genres to illustrate how humanities has or can impact people, hopefully leading to an answer to the topic of the value of humanities. So the first um, work I chose was the film Avatar by James Cameron. It was released in 2009. It brings to light the negative effects that we as humans are having on the earth and the future of the earth if we do not take care of it. Sometimes, as humans of business, technology, science, and advancement, we tend to become numb to the beauty and wonder of nature for our own personal gain. And this was definitely conveyed in the movie Avatar if you have seen it. Um, it also kind of shows the human nature, makes us look at ourselves and see how we see others that are different from us as inferior. That's also conveyed in this movie. I believe it promotes the extrinsic value that being mindful and taking care of our planet now will lead to its longevity later on. The next film that I chose was Zootopia by Byron Howard and Rich Moore. It was released in 2016. Um, so a lot of times we do not realize it, but media, including films, tend to influence our judgment, not only in politics and big issues, but also just in how we view things in life in general. Studies of human-animal bond have shown um, that the representation of animals in media can influence our treatment towards them in real life. So, by showing in the movies, showing them as smart, sentient beings with adorable, more round features, has driven us to befriend animals in real life that we normally wouldn't have. It also um, makes us take a look at our relationship with them now and how we value them and the roles that they play now versus in the past. Usually the treatment of animals is seen as a ethics matter, and we look at it as either morally acceptable or unacceptable depending on the treatment. The next work of art I chose was Floating by Gaston Lachaise, I think is how you say it. The sculpture was created in 1927. So it was originally made for the purpose of celebrating the female form, but because art can be left to participation and interpretation of the viewer, I also felt that the sculpture brought forth um, the view of being in balance and peace with nature and the balance you can find when in nature. But I believe that the sculptor's intention was to evoke intrinsic and extrinsic values about women's bodies, and not only the body itself physically, but the the different characteristics and how valuable a woman's body really is. Next, I chose Michelangelo's David. The sculpture was created between 1501 and 1504. So I believe that whether a person is religious or not, the sculpture and story behind David is empowering. And just as Florence valued the work because of its representation and meaning it conveyed to them, as it symbolized their strength, faith, and ability to win battles against the territories surrounding them, it can also go to our everyday life. So I believe that the actual biblical story behind the sculpture and the sculpture itself are example of the relational theory of value. My next film that I chose was Saving Private Ryan by Steven Spielberg. Um, it was in theaters in 1998. So the movie has value because of the history it portrays. I believe that the history makes it valuable to us. Not only does the audience get to view the tension of World War II and the danger that was present during those times, but it also showed the brotherhood and friendships that develop in the military when you're having to have the back of the person beside you. Um, I believe that this film was probably a good representation of objectivist theory of value, which um, says that the object excites the interest. So I believe initially, probably this movie was brought had attention because of the fact that it was a war movie, not so much for the plot behind actually saving Private Ryan. And my last work is the creation of Adam by Michelangelo as well. It's another religious piece that, in my opinion, was painted to convey the nature of man and the nature of God. Because in the beginning with Adam, his facial expression and body language kind of give off a hint of nostalgia in contrast to God, who is really stretching out towards Adam and really reaching for him. God's love for Adam never fades despite his disobedience in the Garden of Eden. And even though Adam appears to seem kind of careless, God still loves him and his love is everlasting. And I feel like that's like no matter what we do, nothing affects his love for us. All right, so is humanities valuable today? Absolutely. Um, I believe that, like I was saying earlier, actually influences us, and it shows us some history, and makes us take a look at ourselves as well and view um, us as human beings. All right, and this is my works cited. Thank you all for listening to my presentation.